Hey everybody, reading time. Let's just get right into it. I'm gonna start with this deck. 1 second. Okay, let's. Hope everybody's doing great, by the way, and getting through this holiday season in one piece. If you celebrate, whatever you celebrate. Okay, but let's see what internally this collective is going through right now. Let's see what kind of reading we're gonna get here. Hopefully a good one. I need some good vibes. Sweetness, that's nice. It's a cute little card. I've never gotten that. Sweetness, okay. Maybe this collective has a new sweetness in their life. What else? Oh. Anger. Okay, that's not. Sweetness and anger. Not what I was expecting. Get one more? Maybe? And sadness. What the heck is going on? So sweetness, but also anger and sadness. What is happening right now? Let's get another one for sweetness. Maybe. Sweetness. Another red card. Passion. Okay, so sweetness with passion. Anger. Death. Now, just say that doesn't mean literal death. Like the death card in tarot, it's more like the end of something and then a rebirth, usually. But for anger to come up under an ending. Huh, okay, let's get one for sadness. Success. Now those are very contradicting, aren't they? Sadness with success. I'm gonna go with this deck and get some more. This is throwing me. I'm not gonna lie. This collective, sweetness with passion, but anger and an anger about an ending. Sadness. All right. Let's just go. Let's get another one for this first row. The sweetness and the passion. Oh. Okay, I was really hoping for a nice reading here, and we literally get toxic. So sweetness and passion, toxic. Drama, arguments, incompatible. Okay, so with that coming out, I'm hearing it's almost the same kind of beginning as another recent reading I had where this collective, or the collective, the connection in their life that they saw as passionate and like loving was actually like it was a cover. Like they thought it was love and something comforting, and it actually was not. It was toxic. But the way I'm seeing this is honestly not a collective who's currently in that still. For it to come out first, and then anger with death, and then sadness with success. I'm reading this as progressive now, with seeing the toxicity in a very sweet and passionate seeming dynamic. Having it come to an end, and initially being angry, like there being anger involved in the ending, which would make sense if it was toxic with drama and arguments. So there was a, this is just a detail to make this fit. The ending of this connection would have been very volatile, very angry. That passion could also be passionate, like just passionate emotion, like in general, like someone, maybe you both get very hot-headed, very angry, passionate about, whatever. It's not, doesn't have to be just passion in as it pertains to sweetness and romance. And then that's making me see this transition from a sadness about the ending to seeing it as a success. Like, I finally got out of that situation. That's how I'm reading this energy now. And I don't understand why it took toxic to come out to make the rest of the energy. Maybe to show me that this, because I think it's this row that was throwing me off with the passion and sweetness. It seems like a good positive row, right? But as soon as that comes out to confirm that energy, it's showing that it wasn't sweet and I mean, maybe it was, but it was toxic. It wasn't. There's too much drama. You're too incompatible. Like the good parts of it were not enough to sustain a healthy dynamic. Okay, which makes sense as to why it would have such a volatile, loud, like angry ending. But then ultimately, the grieving, the sadness, the process of kind of moving forward, getting over, having a higher perspective. Like, it's funny, you have the sun and the moon in these. It's like, and I feel like that's significant here. We'll get maybe tarot, but I feel like it's like night and day, literally, like the way you see this relationship now, and what it really was. And so that sadness has turned into kind of more like, I don't want to say full on happiness, but like relief. Like, I got out of that, like seeing the rainbow at the end of the storm, right? I'm out of the storm. There's my rainbow. Like, I got out of this. Yes, it was sad. It sucked. It hurt. I hung on too long maybe, but I'm out. I did it. So let me just get more for these then. But we'll have to see why this reading is coming out then. Maybe this person just popped back up. And you're like, nah. Like, no thank you. No, that's too many. That's too many. Too many. Oh, but that one really wanted to come out, apparently. Did you see that? I don't know if you saw that when I was struggling and went back in, but it was determined. Consequences. Bad choices. Games. Mixed signals. Yeah, I mean, this... Look at her. I never even noticed this before. Hold on. I can't really tell what she has written. I'm something on these band-aids on her face, and she's got matches underneath the band-aids, and she's holding a lit match near them. Like, bad choices. Like, but like to yourself, like you're blinding yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I'm feeling it. Like, you're only hurting yourself. Wow. That's weird that I never, like, I've gotten that card before, but I've never really examined the photo and see what she's doing. I think I always just assumed they were tattoos before. I don't even know. Anyway, for that to come out under the anger, the ending of something, that was the consequences. Like, bad choices, games, mixed signals ended in this blow up of an ending. What about this sadness and success? daydreaming, head in the clouds, delusion, hopes and dreams. So I'm seeing that as that success. It could be reflecting daydreaming about this first card, that sweetness, that passion, but like because there is still an element of sadness here, I feel like while this collective, you are kind of like I said, seeing it but night and day difference in your perspective on the relationship. At the same time, there's still an element of sadness for what you perceived as good times, and that maybe you still kind of daydream about it a little bit, and maybe it still holds you back a little, and maybe that's why this reading is coming out, is because you still have this little like kind of hope or delusion that maybe, just maybe, those few happy moments could be more. But I'm also feeling it more as allowing yourself to kind of daydream a little bit more now about the future, about your hopes and dreams. You no longer have your head in the clouds about what this was. Like, do you know what I mean? Let's get one more for that row. Blocked. Yeah, moved on. Nothing to say, stop calling. Yeah, it's like there may still be a little aspect of kind of, like I said, that reminiscing a little bit, but you're done. Like you have officially, like I said, night and day. You're seeing it from a new perspective. Nothing to say, stop calling, moved on. You're dreaming, hoping and dreaming for bigger and better things now. You're not letting yourself sit in that sadness. You're letting it kind of make it see, you're letting that sadness show you kind of what you've been missing or what you could have outside of this toxic dynamic. Okay, let's then see, just to kind of confirm some more, what this collective, what is surrounding your heart space right now towards this connection that you, I feel, have clearly ended. What is your current heart space, this collective? I'm just trying to figure out why this reading would be coming out for this collective. Conflicted. Or conflict, I should say, because there is also a conflicted card. But clashing, differences, incompatibility. More for this collective's heart space right now. Rejection, intuition, yeah, this collective, I'm seeing this intuition, heart song, telepathy, inner knowing, rejection, abandoned, dismissed, irrational fear, and conflict. For this to be what's in your heart space right now, I feel like it's reflecting how you know, the intuition, you know, that the rejection had to happen of this person because of the conflict, the incompatibility, the differences, the clashing, the, you know, the angry nature, that was obviously, I feel like, not healthy. It's like you know this rejection is not just an irrational fear of anything. It's justified in fear of this not being your person. Like, it feels like it's kind of reflecting that sentiment of how there's that last bit of reflection or last bit of reminiscing going on that's causing you to kind of be conflicted about whether you should have rejected this connection or not. But like in your heart, you know, like you know. Let's get another one for the rejection. Like, you know, this had to end. You know, you had to reject this person, whatever, you know, they're trying to tell you. distance, separation, space, blockage. Yeah, you know that distance and rejection was necessary. So I'm curious why, if you know that this had to happen, if you know that you had to put distance and reject this person because of the differences, the incompatibility, I want to know, like, why would this reading be coming up right now? What does this collective need to work on right now for this reading to be coming up? The only thing I could think is it has to do with that little bit of daydreaming left. Intuition. Another thing, card of intuition. Trust your gut. The universe is constantly speaking to us. Will you choose to listen? So maybe this is just to... I feel like maybe this person is pulling at you a little bit. And this is kind of coming up to show you to stand your ground here. To trust your intuition on it. To not kind of go backwards. I'm seeing that guarded card, like stay guarded. Bridges. Oh. Conqueror, bridges, and security. Bridges. Never forget the bridge that brought you across, because it may just be the very one that will have to take you back. Be careful not to burn it. And then you have security. Be careful not to be drawn into a false sense of security. Security begins only when trust has been established. And conqueror. Today, you are a conqueror. You are able to overcome anything life throws at you. Let's do this. So, okay. This Bridges card, I'm having a very hard time with believing that if they're... Unless it's just kind of, because it ended in such a volatile way, like with anger, maybe there's something about needing to soothe that ending a little bit with more gentleness, kindness, like not in such an angry way. Like maybe there just has to be better closure to kind of explain, like, this just isn't healthy. Like I care about you, but I don't want to do this anymore. Like, maybe there's just something about needing to, I don't want to say keep the bridge open to this person in that way, but maybe they are meant to be someone who not only grows you, but has a bigger part to play. You know what I mean? But I'm also like this, don't be drawn into a false sense of security. Like, don't, like I said, when I had that feeling of maybe they've kind of popped back up and they're pulling at your heartstrings a little bit, don't be pulled into that. Today you're a conqueror. Overcome that, but don't, like, if it ended in a very angry way, right? That 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 very high emotional ending, this could be saying, because I had the deviation of feeling like someone might have just popped back up and pulling on your heartstrings, maybe this is saying to handle it differently. Trust your intuition on it, but handle it slightly differently than you did in the initial ending. Like, approach this person's attempts with more of an open dialogue, not blowing up with anger, like, do you not remember what we just went through, like, blah blah blah. Just more of like, hey, I think it's time we just accept that this isn't gonna work. Like, it just feels like there's something with the way you approach this ending being something that you will want their last impression of you to be. Like, you, I don't, that's a weird feeling. It's like the universe doesn't want them to have the impression of you that you're just like this angry ball of rage that just like it's like they want this person to kind of see the real you, that you're going to handle things maturely and level-headed. And because maybe that's part of how you help them as well, by being like an example of how things can end without blowing up. Does that make sense? I don't know why I felt that very specifically. So I feel like this reading is popping up because this collective just had someone, that person, kind of pulling at them a little bit, and the universe just wants you to handle this a little bit differently than your initial breakup. And I don't feel like there's no indication of here of like taking anyone back or second chances or anything. It's just, I feel like it's handling something differently to, but stay on the path that you're on of moving on, right? But just something about that anger. So let's see more about steps forward for this collective. Yeah. So separation, love, longing, abandonment or abandoned, divorce, broken dreams, heartbreak, grief, and Venus, offer, romance, love, beauty, creative arts, wealth, harmony, attraction, and offer. So I think this is confirming that feeling of someone be pulling at your heartstrings. I feel like even though there was this abruptive, angry ending, maybe it's the type of connection where even when it gets like that, you guys kind of still come together eventually. And there's something about this collective finally like seeing that for what it is. Like I said, it's like a night and day perspective change on your connection. And seeing this separation as, like, for this to come up under next steps, I feel like there's obviously an offer here from this person, whether it's an offer of getting back together or just them, like I said, pulling at your heartstrings a little bit, like just by being around. There's this urge to, like I said, stay on the path of the separation. You know, it's what you need to do right now, but I think there's like a cycle to be broken within this that has to do with your emotions. That has to do with anger. That has to do with handling something differently than you have before, to break a layer, to move forward. Let's just get a couple more for next steps going forward. Fears and illusions, limitation, anxiety, comfort zone, overthinking, negative outlook. So because of this offer coming in, I'm feeling this as not a warning, but a nudge to be aware, mindful of the fears and illusions that have come with losing this person before. Like afraid that if you're not with this person, they'll just immediately be with someone else, or you won't find it. Like this, just these irrational fears and illusions of what you had that were keeping you stuck there before. You're breaking free from them, right? So don't let those old fears and illusions, those limitations, that comfort zone you thought you had, the overthinking, don't let that block what you have going on right now. Be mindful of the negative outlook and the overthinking you put into your own mind. Just because this person is back and offering you something, if you haven't seen any other change in their behavior or the efforts that, you know what I mean, if it feels just the same, like they're just back again, don't let those any fears or illusions of the past block your path forward. One more. Attract, attractive, passion, mutual feelings, feeling That says drown to someone, but I'm obviously they meant drawn to someone, feeling drawn to someone. Don't let that attraction be a distraction. That you have passion again. You had that card in the very first row. So obviously there is also not just passionate emotions like heightened anger and frustration and sadness, but like was obviously an attraction, a passionate attraction, mutual feelings to that degree. But don't let the illusion of those things being something like you can be attracted to lots of people. You can have a passion and mutual feelings with like it's not this isn't the only person in the world that you'll ever feel those feelings with, even if it's hard to see past that sometimes. But this collective, like I said, something in you has because night and day. But don't let the attraction be a distraction to get you back into this overthinking, that comfort zone of, well, they're being passionate and sweet again, so maybe this time they'll be different. If if that anger and that emotional those emotional triggers aren't soothed, you will never have that healthy dynamic because there'll always be something that triggers that anger again, that heightened emotion, right? So I think this is just this collective's reminder to stay on your path, not to get distracted, to work on that trigger, to break that layer. I feel like this is something that this collective needs to work on to break a layer. One more. I know I already said one more, but one more. Okay, two more. Inner child healing. Exactly. I feel like this is something that it needs to be healed. It's wounding, coping mechanisms, learned behaviors, self-discovery. I feel like this collective, there is something about your heightened emotions where how you get maybe too angry or just too, I don't want to say too emotional, but just heightened frustration, heightened anger, heightened like the negative feelings, negative outlooks, those overthinking, all of those feel heightened, and it has to do with something inner child healing, something that you grew up as a defense mechanism. That was what you were taught to, you know what I mean, to embody. Cold control, silent observing, hiding feelings, secretive, blocking emotions, mask. This collective. This is your next steps, right? This is what needs to be worked on. Inner child healing that have to do with your overactive emotions, I want to say, but not in, because it's not bad to be emotional, right? To have emotion, to feel things, right? But when you let the negative ones dictate our actions and our behaviors because they're so overwhelming, that's something that we need to heal, to work on, right? So there's that aspect of needing to heal those learned behaviors of how anger and letting yourself get to that point before a change is made is something you need to work on. It's something you're finding in your own self-discovery. But I'm feeling this blocking emotions, silent observing, hiding your feelings. I'm feeling that more as what you kind of do to yourself. That's that self-discovery. It's part of what you need to work on. It's part of what is in this these came out together. It's part of that inner child healing. Not only how your emotions get to that point of heightened like overwhelm before any action is taken, but how you block them off in yourself until they get to that point. You hide them, you block your emotions, you mask, you act like everything is fine until it's not anymore and you just explode, right? And that is something that needs to be healed. You need to be able to address the things that trigger you as they happen so that they don't get to that point where you're blowing up in emotion, in whatever kind of emotion, sadness, fear, anger. It's needing to learn to soothe these things earlier, not letting them build up and feel like, because it's cold, it's not control. It's like you have this illusion of controlling your emotions by keeping them hidden and But by holding them down and suppressing them, you just get to that point where you explode. So this collective, this reading is to urge you to find center, I think, to take some time to work on that space within you that gets too angry, too sad, too, and I hate saying that, like there's too, like, feel what you need to feel, right? But just know that your emotions are not you. Don't let them overwhelm you to a point where they control your every action, your every thought. Control your emotions. Don't let them control you. That's where I think this collective's main focus is meant to be right now. So actually, with that said, because we're looking for focus for this collective, I was going to get animal energy cards, but I was looking at these cards right before the reading, and I knew there was a reason for it. This collective, you need to stand in your power right now. I can feel that. You need to stand in your inner knowing. Stop ruminating over what you did or didn't do. Let it go. And then on the bottom, let your feelings out, all of them, even the ones that scare you. I'm feeling this for this collective. It's because your feelings get so intense, right? Like camping. Sorry. But because your feelings get so intense before you do anything about them, this is telling, don't stop thinking about it. It's like you think about things so much instead of addressing it. What you did, what you didn't do. You think, ruminate, you think and think and think and think and think. And it gets to this point where there's just so much pent up overthinking, what you could have done, what you didn't do, just so much unnecessary, like I said, overthinking, instead of just letting your feelings out. All of them. Even if they're scary, just letting them out and it doesn't even have to be to someone else. Because this collective, you got that card of keeping things inside. Let your feelings out to yourself. First and foremost, even if it scares you, say it to yourself, write it down, feel what you need to feel, and then kind of go from there with addressing it. Like, I know it's not easy to, like, every time something pops up just to say something. It's something that needs to be worked on, but you can get to that point of speaking up and letting your feelings be heard without there always being a consequence or a blowout. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to get to that point for something to change. And I feel like that's kind of what this collective, it's like you wait and wait and wait until you just absolutely have no choice but to explode. Life can be hard and life can be wonderful. Which will you focus on? Exactly. Stop. No more ruminating about anything. What you did do, what you didn't do, what could have been different, how you didn't let your feelings out. Which are you going to focus on? The positive or the negative? Focus on the positive, the fact that you have all these emotions, that you acknowledge them, that you do feel them. That's a positive, right? Focus on how you can channel that in a healthy way. Whether maybe you don't even, like I said, you speak it to yourself. Maybe you put it into art. Maybe you put it into song. You put it into words. You know what I mean? You put it into something that's not a blowout of expression, of anger, of fear, of frustration. You put it into something healthy, productive. So I think that's just what this collective needs to do right now. You need to find a way to let your feelings out in a healthy, balanced way and not let them get you to a point of overwhelm and explosion. Gazelle. I'm going to get a couple of these animal energy cards for this collective, and then we'll wrap it up. Snake. That's transformation. I like that. That's good. That is definitely kind of, like I said, transformation. You're starting to see the things that need to... And swan energy. Okay, let's just read these. Gazelle. Heightened awareness and ability. Yeah, vulnerable. The gazelle represents supreme grace. With every move, this awe-inspiring beauty emits sophistication and elegance. Gazelle personalities are often hyper aware of their surroundings, bordering on hypervigilant, and this can inhibit them from enjoying the beauty they've spent so much effort cultivating. No more worrying about all those predators out there in the world, in the wild, or world, whatever. When this card appears, it's time to get back to the present moment. Sit down, find your breath, and acknowledge the bounty that surrounds you. Let it nourish your gentle spirit. When in balance, graceful, perceptive artist. Yeah. I love that. Let's do snake. Oh, what's this way? Snake. Okay. Guardian of unawakened magic and creative potential. Another thing about creativity. So really, this collective, maybe there's a call to kind of put your emotions, your energy, that overwhelm into art somehow, something creative to kind of to channel it into something healthy, productive, so it doesn't turn into a blowout of emotion, right? The snake is a symbol of our highest potential. It is said that Shakti, our creative life force, lies dormant at the base of our spine in the form of a coiled snake. Regardless of whether this image rings true for you, it's well worth considering the amount of unawakened or untapped potential within. What would life look like if you woke it up? How can you stir it from slumber? An experienced yoga or meditation teacher can lead the way. And this is the second one. The other one, the gazelle had something about yoga in there too, to practice mindfulness, which is something that's collective. This is exactly what this is about. Practicing mindfulness of your emotion, right? Finding center in it. Make haste. The snake card appears when there's no more time to waste. So this, exactly, that's why this is coming out right now, because this collective, you're at a point where you really need to kind of find that balance. You need to rein it in, find a healthier way to express your emotions, especially in a heightened state. And I'm feeling like for you to have two cards of like yoga, meditation, maybe maybe you've started kind of looking into something in that realm, or maybe you need to, just as a way, like I said, to soothe though that overwhelm before it gets to, like, to let it out in a healthy way. To bring into balance, Kundalini yoga or meditation. When out of balance, this energy stops and starts many things. And when in balance, it's prosperous, creative, and charismatic. So we want to bring that into balance, right? All right, let's find the swan card now. Effortless creativity. So another card of creativity too, okay? Sensitive, mystic, elegant power. The swan represents heightened creativity. In Hindu mythology, the goddess Saraswati, the embodiment of language, creativity, and artistry. And literally, what I just say, language, like write, art, like whatever you're get your feelings out creatively in an artistic, healthy, productive way. Confirmation. The goddess Saraswati rides on the back of this graceful creature. The swan is ready to take us there, to the fluid realm of writing, creating, and reflecting. This potent and healing energy is not to be taken for granted or taken lightly. When the swan card appears, your soul is calling for attention, for solo time. Confirmation. An inner voice is waiting to be heard. Further confirmation. An inner vision likely to be revealed. Yeah. And when out of balance, this energy is agitated, snippy, and lacking vision. When in balance, this is an infinite creative power. To bring into balance, solo time and writing. So maybe this collective, maybe you are a writer. Maybe you like to write poetry or lyrics or just kind of doodle notes in your margins, like whatever it is that you like to do creatively, to put your feelings into words or art. You're being called to do that right now, to put your focus on handling your emotion, to learn to control it and not let it control you, to ride the wave of your emotion while being an alchemist and transmuting it into something other than the negative energy that it is, right? Not that you could, like, it's not going to fix negative situations. I get it. Like, it's not having a positive mindset towards things doesn't make bad things not happen or not bad. But the overwhelm of emotion and the point of blowing up with it is not how you move forward. It's going to keep you stuck in more bad energy like that. You know, I feel like this is a layer. This collective is ready to break. You're ready to refocus your emotions in a healthy way and a creative way. I feel there's something about this collective, your creativity, mindfulness that needs to be focused in on as far as your emotions right now. So we'll leave it at that. I hope this has helped or put some thoughts into this collective's mind about how they can reel things in and kind of ride the waves of their emotion instead of becoming their emotions. I hope you guys have a great day and a great holiday coming up if you celebrate, whatever you celebrate. And we'll see you soon. Bye.